Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here to present you my NBA morning shoot around for Monday, December 9th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all my NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for our DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So we got a solid 9-game slate today. A couple fun games on this slate to watch. I definitely think there's some fantasy relevancy here. My biggest thing is got to find some value. There's a couple guys I think that we can look at, but there's no really crazy good value out there for me right now. Hopefully, as we get a little bit later in the day, things will start opening up for us. But yeah, man, we're going to do our best to kind of work our way through it. We'll do as we usually do, top 5 or 6 picks at each position to kind of help you start building your player pool. Something that you can do right here in our optimizer, man. Go through, click all the players you want, position by position. Run 150 lineups for strictly those players that you have locked in your player pool. Hey, it's fun. Definitely, there's a bunch of things that you could do. So make sure to check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. And yeah, let's go. So we'll start at the top of point guard. You got Russell Westbrook. We got him projected as the highest point guard by far today at a 10.2 price tag for Russell Westbrook. It's a fair price tag, but we're not looking at the same Russell Westbrook that we have in the past years. The guy is shooting the ball horribly, still is filling up the stat sheet, though, getting you assists, rebounds, steals, etc. I think he gives you a pretty solid floor. He just doesn't really have the same upside that he had in previous years with OKC. But you got to look at him against a young Sacramento team. Should be a pretty fast-paced up and down game. Then we'll go down a little bit. Next guy we'll talk about, you got Kemba Walker, priced down a little bit, 8,100 in a really good matchup against Cleveland. I think this is a good spot for Kemba. I think it gives you a solid floor on this price tag, gives you a little bit of upside as well. Kemba's a guy that's looking like a really good play tonight. Ricky Rubio against Minnesota. I think that you can consider him 7,600. Pretty good mid-tier play. He's been playing well. He's filling up the stat sheet, giving you a pretty good floor. Kyle Lowry against Chicago. He's in play. Kyle Lowry is strictly a GPP for me, though, just because – I don't know. The upside, I just feel like the upside really isn't there with Kyle Lowry. But I think that he's, like I said, a young Chicago team. This should be a very up-tempo, back-and-forth game. I think you could throw him in the player pool, play him a couple lines. He's going to come in lower owned. Chris Paul going against Utah, 7,300 is a really good price for Chris Paul. Yes, he's a little bit older now, but it still is Chris Paul. He's still the best player on OKC, and they need him if they're going to compete night in and night out against a Utah team. It should be a pretty competitive game. If OKC can stay in this game, it's going to be because of Chris Paul being one of the main reasons. Moving down a little bit, a couple guys in the mid tier that I think we could look at. Lonzo Ball, 6,000. I think is too cheap for him. Strictly a GPP play, but the upside is there. Lonzo does have a little bit of upside on a 6,000 price tag. Same thing for Derrick Rose. As Derrick Rose continues to get minutes while they got Jackson is out. While Jackson is out for Detroit, I think that Derrick Rose is coming off the bench, but he's getting a ton of shots a game. He's getting the opportunity. Earlier in the year, he did show us some upside with this Detroit team. So I think that you can look at him as another GPP play. I'll kind of combine these guys. I think that both of them you can look at. There's a lot of point guards on this slate that I do like. I will admit that's my favorite position on the slate. There's a lot of guys that are a pretty fair price tag. You can look at Patrick Beverly with no Kawhi Leonard. There'll be a couple extra shots out there. I think a couple extra minutes for Patrick Beverly going against Indiana. And then Chris Dunn, he's got that start and roll back for Chicago at a 5,000 price tag. He's a guy that he definitely does a little bit of everything. He's not a scoring dependent point guard. He can drop some dimes, get a couple rebounds, couple assists as well. At 5,000, I think Chris Dunn does have a little bit of upside on this price tag. Moving on to shooting guard. You start with James Harden. The guy's averaging, 35 plus points a game. The floor is ridiculous. The price tag is up, though. We'll say that. But I think that you can definitely look at him. Anytime he's on the slate, the guy has 60, 70, even 80 fantasy point upside. So I think you really could consider Harden today. Booker, I'm not really too crazy about. I think you could throw him in some GPPs though. Drew Holiday's a guy that I really like. I mean, the ball's in his hands a lot, and the guy plays a ton of minutes. He scores the ball, gets rebound. The guy, he doesn't get triple doubles, but he's a guy that does get 20 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, a couple steals. He definitely fills it up. Drew Holiday, 8,500, playing a bulk load of minutes as well. New Orleans needs this guy to play well if they're going to be competitive. Him and Ingram are the two guys that they need to continue to ball out. Holiday, good play. Donovan Mitchell with the point guard being out right now. Mike Conley, everybody's getting a little bit of a bump. Donovan Mitchell's getting the ball more in his hands, getting a little bit. His usage rate is up a little bit. 8,200 in up tempo game against OKC. Solid spot right here for Donovan Mitchell. Lou Williams, I love Lou Williams. Probably just put him in my cash games, move on. 6,800 anytime. Kawhi Leonard's out. They need Lou Williams to step up. It's not a surprise. Once again, Kawhi Leonard's out tonight. Lou Williams, 6,800. Love him in this spot. Great, great cash game play on today's slate. Couple guys a little bit cheaper. We can look at Marcus Smart. He is a game time decision. I expect him to play today though at 5,900 against his Cleveland team. Definitely think that Marcus Smart's in a solid spot here. I think that he will play today. And then lastly, a guy coming in pretty cheap that's getting some run. Langston Galloway at 3,900. I think he's a guy that we can look at as kind of a cheap value play. The minutes have been a little bit up and down, but he is playing 25 minutes a game, somewhere right around there. At a 3,900 price tag, you don't need too much for him to hit value. Moving on to the shooting guard spot. To small forward. Antetokounmpo, making his run for another MVP this year. Him and James Harden, in my opinion, are probably the two front runners right now. Antetokounmpo, we know he fills up the stat sheet, triple-double upside any night. He's a really, really good player. I just don't know if he's a guy I want to pay up for. You got Paul George at 8,700 with no Kawhi Leonard. I think this is a really good play right here. And you can save what? You can save 2,400, no, 2,500, no, 3,400 you can save 3,400 from Paul George to Antetokounmpo. And Paul George is getting no Kawhi Leonard. I think it's a tough spot. There's some really good, powerful, small forwards here that I don't know if I want to pay for Antetokounmpo. You got Leonard 8,700 in a good spot. Got Brandon Ingram going against Detroit. I think he's a good spot. More of a GPP play, though. Siakam at 9,100. I think that you could look at him against Chicago. We like bigs against Chicago. And then I like, you go down a little bit. I like Kelly Oubre at 7,300. I think Oubre is a really good play. And then there's a couple good value plays that are coming in here, too. You can look at a guy like Joe Ingles. He gets some extra duties, runs a little bit of point guard when point guard's out for Utah. At 4,300, he's coming in pretty cheap. We got him projected at 23 fantasy points, which is a 5.5 value. And then also you can look at, I think that possibly with Leonard out, it'll be Mo Harkless stepping into that starting role at small forward for the Clippers, 3,800. You need 20 basically for value. We got him projected at 19, almost 5 times value. But he does have a little bit of upside as well on these price tags. So the price tag is crazy for Antetokounmpo. That's what's making it a little bit tough. But if you could fit him in, I wouldn't blame you. The guy gives you a massive floor and a massive ceiling also. Moving on to power forward, Domantas Sabonis. We always talk about him last year. Whenever he started, we played him. He's starting now regularly for Indiana. He hasn't disappointed. Playing very, very well, giving you a solid floor, double upside any night. The guy's very, very good. This game should be fairly competitive as well, going against the Clippers. So I like Sabonis in this spot here, especially if he's going to get matched up against a guy like Mo Harkless. The guy can absolutely dominate that matchup. Then we'll go down a couple more guys. I think you can look at a guy like Jason Tatum going against Cleveland. I think this is a pretty good spot for him. Blake Griffin at 7,200 just coming in. This is just too cheap for Blake Griffin. Yes, he's not the same Blake Griffin as he was when he was with the Clippers, but 7,200 is still too cheap. All you need is 36 for value. We got it projected at 35. I really like Blake Griffin. I think that he's a really good play. Couple more guys. I like Robert Covington coming in at 5,800 in an up-tempo game against Phoenix. He's playing 30 minutes a game, 5,800, and this should be a back-and-forth run-and-gun type game. Both teams are pretty young, so I like him in this spot. Paying down a little bit. Two guys I think we can pay down for here at the small forest, but I think we can look at Tice, continue to look at him, and then the guy that was backing him up is also, he's a little hurt right now too, so Tice can see some extra run. At 4,600, Boston really likes this guy. He has double-double upside any night. I think it's a really good price tag for him that you can look to play him. Also, a guy that's getting some extra run is Jeff Green out there in Utah, 3,800. We need almost 20, about 20 for him to get value. The guy's been picking it up recently with the extra minutes that he's been playing. Jeff Green's a guy that whenever he gets extra minutes, you can play him. The guy can get you rebounds, he can score the ball, get you a couple defensive stats as well. Lastly, finishing off at center, Karl-Anthony Towns going against Phoenix. Phoenix doesn't have nobody that could guard this dude. Let's be real. This is a really good spot for Karl-Anthony Towns. Same thing for Drummond. New Orleans is playing the guy Hayes, which is a very undersized center. This is a spot for both of these guys could crush right here. I'll just keep it at that. Very simple. Gobert coming in at 7,800 against Steven Adams. It's not the best spot, but this is a pretty cheap price tag for Gobert, so I definitely think that he is on the radar for today's slate. A guy like Montrezl Harrell, they're going to need some extra scoring with Leonard out. Harrell's a guy that has 50 fantasy point upside. He's shown it a couple of times already when Kawhi Leonard was out, so I think that he's a guy that's definitely in play in a pretty good, decent spot today. Jackson Hayes, we talked about him going against Drummond. It's a tough spot here against Drummond. He is an undersized guy, but he has been starting and getting some burn, and he does have a little bit of upside at 4,900. I think he's a GPP play that we can look at. Last but not least, I think we can look at Zubac. They're going to look for some extra scoring with no Kawhi Leonard, and they're going to need a big guy in there going against Miles Turner, going against some bonus. So I think that a couple minutes are available extra for Zubac today. He's a guy that could definitely fill up the stat sheet very, very quickly. Even if he's only going to play right around 18 to 20 minutes, he can definitely get you there. We need 21 for value. He could get you close to a double-double in that time. So I think he's the guy we can look to kind of pay down for as well today. So that's really where I'm at with this video. If you want a more in-depth analysis on today's slate, make sure to check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. And hey, good luck on guys' contests, all right? Peace out.